When I was in college, I loved listening to music while I was doing homework. If that was writing a paper or doing an assignment, I loved listening to music. There was this one time where in my rotation on Spotify, Beyonce came on, and I love Beyonce. So I started jamming out and listening to Queen Bee, and what ended up happening was as I was typing my paper, or trying to, I went back, reread the paragraph, and what had happened was that I had written a part of Beyonce's song in my paper. I went from a theology paper to writing a biography on Beyonce. I just lost focus. That's what happened. And I lost concentration from the topic of the paper to writing about Beyonce. And I am just so glad. I'm so glad I went back to proofread everything and to just reread what I was typing, because if I wouldn't have, I would have submitted that paper and it would have been a disaster. My professor would have been asking me questions that I wouldn't know how to answer. I would probably do a little nervous laugh and probably run because I would feel so embarrassed that I wrote that in there. And since that incident, after writing my paper with pop music in the background and ending up writing part of Beyonce's lyrics in my paper, I then made the decision to switch over to classical music. There's just something about a piano and a violin that really soothes you. It really calms you. It puts you in the right headspace. And so that is something I stuck with for the rest of the time I was in college. And I'm so glad I made that decision, because I would have just been writing so many theology papers with Beyonce lyrics in it. But how easy is it for you to lose concentration? See, we have this problem in concentrating in our culture. What I mean by that is that we have Instagram. See, with Instagram, you can make boomerangs, you can make videos, and you can ask questions, have polls, have all these different things that Instagram offers. And we can get so caught up into that. And as we see more stories appear on our feed, we just want to keep watching them. If we don't like it, tap through it. But there's something attractive and entertaining that Instagram could have, that Snapchat with either a 10-second video, a picture of yourself chatting with friends, or TikTok learning a new dance that you watched on TikTok and performing it yourself to post on TikTok. There's so much time that we put in to Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, and there's so much time that we put into all three or any social media platforms that we take time and we just click through. But see, the reason why we are losing concentration in our culture is because we're so used to that 10-second, 30-second, 1-minute video that we see, and we're not used to sitting down and actually paying attention for a long period of time. We're just not built like that anymore. And that's the truth of it. But just imagine we sit down, what that can do. It can lead us to not sit down, but lead us to study God's word. We could sit down for long periods of time and watch whatever is on our phones, play any game, watch any video we want on our phones. It's so easy to do that. And honestly, it is so easy for me to do that. But since we are so used to taking time to watch everybody's stories, what if we took time to actually sit down and dive in and study God's word? Right now, I'm sitting in my room, and I bet a lot of you are either sitting in your room, in your living room, and while we're sitting in our room, not really understanding what is going on in our world, and with COVID-19 progressing each day or every week, every month, we just sit here and wonder what's going to happen. We just lose understanding of what's happening. But let me tell you, now more than ever, we need peace and consistency in God's word. We need peace and consistency in God's word. Take this for example. In Titus chapter 1, verse 12, it reads this: "One of Crete's own prophets has said it. Cretans are always liars, evil brutes, lazy gluttons." Super random, right? Like, why did she just read that weird verse? But we could read this verse and then we have no clue of what everything else in that passage or in that chapter is saying. We get caught up in the randomness and the not understanding of what this verse is saying, but then we have no clue because we aren't sitting down and we aren't actually reading the rest of that chapter. We have to sit down and actually read the passage to understand what is being said. To really understand God's word requires us to actually sit and read what is written without any distractions. So here's going to be the hard part. We are going to do a practice today. And in our practice today for session 8, we are going to read the whole book of Titus. And listen, Titus, literally front and back page. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Only 3 chapters, super short, shortest book in the Bible. And I want you guys to sit down without any distractions. Take away your phone, hide it, throw it across your room, throw it in your closet, whatever you need to do to get away from Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok. And actually sit down and read God's word. But also while you're sitting down with your Trinity groups, also, and reading the book of Titus, I want you to read and understand why Titus 1:12 is being said and why it's in there. We need to sit down and focus. Sit down and concentrate on what is being said in Titus. So I challenge you guys to sit down and practice with your Trinity groups and read the whole book of Titus. Only 3 chapters. Guys, I miss you so much. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you guys so soon. And if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to myself, Garrett, or Wes. And if you need any updates, which some updates are coming soon to Instagram and Facebook, just make sure to always check us and to sign on there for the questions for today. So thank you for listening. Bye, guys.